So my topic for this week is, I'm not sure if you ever heard of voguing and ballroom, which is this type of dance that was popularized in the 70s by Madonna. I went to this thing, it was like a voguing workshop. Tora was there, but she left before I was interviewing people, but she had a good time. They taught us how to do like all poses and all dances. They had a DJ and I had a DJ seminar, and I got to like mix one random song into Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. Which is really fun. I actually got it really well done. So I'm going to show you a bunch of interviews, and I hope you like it. And you learn something about voguing. So you're a DJ called The Cat.
Yes,
so
I am.
how'd you get into like singing?
DJing, I was always interested in it, and I fell in love with it, and so I just started doing it in my bedroom, like got equipment, and then eventually I got to do house parties and then clubs, and then it just went on.
So how'd you find out about this event?
Through John Caffrey, and I did know Will Monroe, and I have done events at the AGLU here.
So can you tell us a little bit about John Monroe?
About Will Monroe?
Yeah.
Well, he was a great guy, and he was a catalyst in bringing the queer scene around the city, like outside of Church Street. He brought a lot of art and queerness to the West End, and his bar, the Beaver, was always, well, it still is like a destination for queer and trans people, and he just broke boundaries, and he did lots of cool things for Toronto. So and he's very artistic and also a very sweet guy. So it's really nice to support him and do stuff.
How did you meet John?
John, I met through Soy. He does.
And what's Soy?
Soy is supporting our youth. It's a program for LGBT queer youth in Toronto, and it just supports them. So he facilitates some of the drop-ins and programs, and one day called me up and had me come talk to the groups about DJing, and then different things. We've done different projects from there. He's like a really awesome guy. He's really involved in the scene, and he gives a lot of his time and energy to the queer youth, and I really admire him for that.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
My name's I'm TKO Monroe. And as I said, I'm the mother of the House of Monroe, and I double up as overseer for one of the key classes.
What is ballroom?
Ballroom is gay life in a room, on the stage, or a runway, as we call it.
So like what kind of dance moves?
So it's not so much dance, but Vogue is like the main style of dance, which you saw us doing that.
Do you do a demonstration? Like by sitting down, or do you have to?
There are 5 elements of Vogue, and I guess the only one that I can be sitting down right now would be like hands. So you want to make sure that your hands are pretty and soft, and that they tell like a story. Not in the beginning there was an end kind of story, but it very much like look at my hands, look at what they're doing, it paints a pretty picture type thing. So that's the only one I can be sitting down. Everything else I have to like get up.
Where did Vogue originate from?
Vogue originated, it's more of it became about via dance, obviously, but it was more of a shade or like a way to say to someone you don't like them on the dance floor. So if you're on the dance floor, someone brushes your shoulder, you do a pose and you're like, oh, that's not going to knock me over. I'm still dancing. That kind of thing. So that's how one of the origins of Vogue was.
So are you involved with Soy as well?
Not directly, but my workplace partners with Soy for different events and things like that. So it's like a joint venture, and that's how I met John actually as well, and through Twisted. So yeah,
Thank you.
no problem.
My name's Snoopy.
Where'd you get the name?
My good friend of mine gave me my name. We were at like a house meeting, so we were all hanging out, and we're trying to figure out each other's names. And I'm very quiet, but I still have like a big presence about me. So one day he just said, your name should be Snoopy, and I'm like, I liked it. Because I was offered other names, but I didn't really like them, and as soon as he said Snoopy, it clicked, and I was like, yeah, that's the one.
So how do you get involved with Soy? Or are you involved in it?
Pardon me?
Are you involved with Soy?
Soy?
Yeah.
Well, I'm with the TKBA, and basically they've called upon us to perform at the AGO and to do this workshop, and I was very fortunate to partake in this, and I was so glad to like teach voguing and let people who aren't aware of what voguing is, teach them it and let them know that it is a style of dance. It is very creative. It does have a scene. It does have a community, and it's really like good to do because you can express yourself
So
with it.
what is the TK?
The TKBA is the Toronto Kiki Ballroom Scene Alliance, and basically it's like a scene where people develop their ballroom skills. So if you want to learn how to Vogue, or you want to learn how to do runway, or learn all the other aspects of the ballroom, that's where you come. You come to the Kiki scene, which we develop to prepare yourself for the real scene.
So how do you get into the Tiki scene?
TKBA?
Yeah.
Basically, there is somebody from the States who've seen us voguing on YouTube, and they wanted to open a chapter here, and basically they called upon us to do that because they wanted to expand their roster internationally. So they basically asked us to start the House of Pink Lady, which is the first Kiki house in Toronto, and basically from there it just branched out and we created other houses and so forth.
Okay, thank you.
My name is John Caffrey.
Okay, so how did you get involved in ballroom?
Well, I've been a fan of it for as long as I can remember. I guess coming of age, figuring out my sexual identity, and seeing films like Paris is Burning, and just being enamored. Like being a big, I guess, Madonna song Vogue was kind of like, I was maybe like 13 at that time, and so that was some really mainstream exposure to voguing. And you know, with some more research, I kind of found out that there was like this thriving subculture.
So how did you get involved in the subculture?
Well, it wasn't until much later in my life. In the past few years, I've just gone to different balls and just been amazed at the supportive environment, and it's really like creative freedom, and people, it's just like explosive. There's a really great energy about it, and some of the events have been held where I work at Supporting Our Youth in the Sherbourne Health Center. There's a ballroom there, and so some of the events have been held there, and so that's when I started to see that stuff was happening locally.
Is the ballroom like open to everybody, or do you need? Is it more like almost like a club where you need to know people to get in, or is it open to all people?
Definitely the events are open to all people, and then there's different houses, and it kind of works like mentorship. So there'll be a mother and a father in a house, and some younger people, and the younger people maybe they've just joined the house, and they can look up to the mother and the father, and it becomes like chosen family. And in a lot of situations, their birth families aren't such great situations. Maybe they've been kicked out of the house, or they're not so, or they can't really be themselves. Maybe they're not out at home. So in these houses, in these families, they can really be themselves.
So how did you get involved with Soaring?
Well, I worked there. I've been working there for 2.5 years. I run a drop-in there, and I run a Monday night drop-in for homeless and street involved queer and trans youth, as well as a group called Alphabet Soup, which is for queer and trans youth 19 and under, and then another one called Soy Heat, which is the Human Rights Equity Access Team, and that's for youth ambassadors engaging in social justice.
Do you think the people in the Vogue scene are usually just from homes that don't accept them, or is there anybody who are from privileged homes who go into it as well?
Maybe. I'm not. I don't want to make any generalizations, but you know, I do know that like within the roots and with a lot of people were coming from, you know, at least like in the situation in New York City in the 70s and the 80s and in the 90s, that a lot of people didn't have great homes, or they weren't even talking to their birth parents. So this is really where they found family.
Do you think it's still like popular and a force in Toronto, or do you think it's dying out?
I think it's a growing force in Toronto. It's actually like there's never been such a strong presence in the city as there is right now in 2012.
The reason I asked that question is because I actually didn't really know there was a scene in Toronto until you invited me to this event.
Okay. Yeah. So I think it's growing. You know, a few years ago there was only a couple of houses, and now there's 8. Yeah, it is great.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So I hope you learned something new. I definitely did tonight. I was really surprised that there still is a ballroom scene in Toronto. I think that's fabulous that they have it, that people who are less fortunate, who don't have parents who are out. And if you don't have parents who are out, I will try and find a link to the Support Our Youth website, so you could maybe get into ballroom culture and have the family that you never, an accepting family, which I think is fabulous, that we have this in Toronto. And also look into your city. If you are living in a state at home that you're not accepted, that there is hope. That I think that's just an amazing thing. Oh, and the thing was that also at York University, if I did forgot to mention that. Thank you all the people who let me interview them. And I want to give all of you a high five, and to all you viewers, here's an internet high five.